Hello, everybody. This is Gabrielle from Budlong Avenue Productions, and these are my thoughts on season 16, first episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm so excited that this is back. I've been wanting to review Canada and Brazil and the other countries, but honestly, life has been lifing, and I'm slowly finding my way out of a situation. So I'm hoping that things go smoothly so I can keep doing these reviews for you guys. But let's just get into it. First impressions. When I first saw Q, I thought she was April Carry-On. And let's be honest, y'all, this show is not beating the allegations that this show recycles queens. I mean, it's no shade to the new or old queens. I just noticed that the same kind of energy and aesthetic keeps popping up over and over and over again. Q seems sweet and she's very talented. She got a quiet reception from me when I saw Meet the Queens, but I am so glad that she's proven me wrong because, honey, the talent is there. Miss Muse, Tsunami Muse looks very beautiful. I hate the way the Queens in the edit focuses on Amanda. It's giving mean girl for no reason. I mean, I get it. Amanda is quirky. She's apologetically herself, and she doesn't compare herself to others. But I honestly feel like the backlash she's getting is because some of these girls have jealousy. I've been an outcast my entire life, and I'm always going to root for the outcast. So people being shitty to her just makes me want to root for her more. I feel like a lot of the shade and hate for Amanda and Mirage seems unwarranted, and like the edit is definitely going along with that energy. Critique each of these people if you must, but the shade is just a little too hard for me. I mean, there's just a line that gets crossed. It's no longer fun. Saphira has given us our first meme.
This place is haunted.
I think this place is haunted. It is, girl. It's filled with the ghost of drag queens past that keeps getting recycled every new season. Okay, I want to love on Mirage because, again, she gets a lot of hate. And she reminds me of a Vegas Sugar, like just the way that I guess the drag scene is very small because for me to keep seeing all these influences, especially from a queen from a previous season, it just must be a very small community. And I think seeing something like Drag Race makes us think that the drag community is bigger than what it might actually be. It's no secret that Dawn is one of the fan favorites. She got the most applause when I was in stage and she appeared on camera, and her social media numbers are growing as we speak. Dawn gives me a dry, sarcastic energy, kind of like Trixie, and I like it, but without the I wish I could be anywhere else but here energy that I really am not here for. I just knew it was going to be a split premiere. I wonder if these split premieres are World of Wonder's way of teasing regular seasons with a smaller cast. I totally am here for this if they could do a season with 7 queens but stagger the elimination so that when it is time to eliminate someone, there's more stakes, not only for the winner but the potential loser as well. Maybe some kind of cash prize that rolls over week after week after week. I'm still thinking about that. And if this appears in next season, like just say you heard it here first on Budlong Avenue Productions. Rue says that the prize is still $200,000. And I got to say, with the millions of dollars, tens, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars that Drag Race generates for Viacom, I propose that they raise that minimum to $500,000. Drag is expensive. Inflation is beating everyone's asses, and the cost of living is costing, honey. So let's up that prize money. Okay, now we're here for the mini challenge. I like that we're trying something new with the edit, where instead of watching all 7 of the queens go through the mini challenge and then de-drag, we have a couple of queens do their mini challenge and then we see them de-drag and we see like the energy and the potential alliances or fights between the queens. And then we go back to the remaining queens doing their mini challenge. It keeps the energy moving, and that's a tactic that producers will use whenever there's so much information that we have to convey in a short period of time. We'll just go back and forth with the highlights of what happened. Dion did the damn thing in her mini challenge, and she's definitely Malaysia's friend because I can see the influences and energy, the hair, the makeup, even the little one finger that they hold up when they do their poses. I absolutely love Mirage's energy. She's so open and free. Whereas someone like Dion is kind of fussy, has very strict standards for what she considers drag. Mirage is a little more open. And I think that's why she gets criticized for being unstructured. But honestly, I love it. And if she could keep that energy and elevate her drag, which I think is pretty good anyways, she's got a home run. All right. Dawn saying that Amanda has great bone structure out of drag, but not in drag, that got a big laugh in the bar. And Amanda, don't let these hoes get to you. Saphira, yes, honey. I'm glad that you were the mini challenge winner. And apparently so was the entire bar because she got a lot of applause. When Rue mentioned that the queens were going to be a part of spring break, I was like, for free? Like, y'all know how I feel about that. I am not a fan of using the queens for free, especially because they really don't get paid to be on the show. So if they're doing like promo work as cast members, that their pay definitely needs to reflect that. Again, WoW is making millions of dollars a year off this show. And it's not me being critical. That's the reality of it is. You wouldn't have a show if it weren't for these queens. So pay your queens. I love that immunity is back. It hasn't been back since season 5. This kind of is a throwback to my original statement about stacking the eliminations. And I think immunity is a way to kind of test that idea. That's interesting, like how immunity is going to play out. Interested. So the queens find out that for this episode, it will be their peers judging each other and not Rue. And I agree when some of the queens were like, we just got to know each other. But I think that actually works in their favor because you're not totally attached to the queens yet. And you can judge them based off of instinct. Okay? But these are people at the end of the day, and they're not always going to rate a queen simply because they did well or bad. Will they be strategic? Will they be petty? Will they be emotional? How they vote speaks volumes about who they are as a person and how they're playing the game. So I really, really like that device because it just, this is how you make story format work for you in post because you get to learn more about these queens. My only thing is, no matter how they vote, I just hope they keep it 100%. Like, I don't want another Malaysia explaining to Marsha why she chose her first for the lip sync. Sis, just keep it real. If you think you can beat somebody's ass easy, just say that. Out of drag, Saphira for me is definitely the trade of the season. Just fine and big, just gorgeous. I'm not eating anything from Charlize Theron, and that's that. Morphine, your parents have to be unfeeling entities to not know that you are gay. I don't understand how they don't know. Like, my man got a BBL. I don't even feel comfortable calling him a man. I think they're non-binary. And I'm not trying to sound rude, but if this person came out as trans down the line, I'm not, I'd be very supportive, but it would not be surprise. All right, main challenge, the talent show. Rue's runway looks absolutely stunning. So beautiful. Now, Morphine is one of the first girls up, and her talent show is very rooted in her Latina ethnicity. And this is no knock on Latina queens past, present, or future, but I don't understand why someone's ethnicity, what that has to do with their talent or their storyline. Like, to me, it's not interesting to say, oh, I'm Latina and I'm wearing red. What about your heritage? How do you express that? Kind of like what was her name? Not the 6th place. I can't remember. She's a sober girl. She was, her whole thing was she incorporated prints that were very from Mexico, and she had a story with her looks. Like, please just don't come out here and do a Latin dance and wear red and just say you're representing for your community, because I feel like that's boring. And again, that's not me being disrespectful to anyone's culture. That's just how I see it. I love Q's originality, even if we were like, what the hell is this? It was so unique, and again, it's just keeping in line with that trajectory she's on. There's this quiet power to her, and I love that she just shows up and is herself. Love it. Mirage 8 in her performance, because based on the promos and the Meet the Queens, I didn't expect the polish that she brings to her performance. I didn't know she'd be enthusiastic, and these Vegas chicks, they love green, don't they? Some neon green. Tsunami Muse's talent portion had a great song, but I feel like we've seen this before, that a queen like lip syncs to their own original composition. My thing is, like, if you're going to go down that route, your presentation, your look, and the song itself have to be so unforgettable and so unique that no other queen can duplicate that. And unfortunately, I feel like any other queen could have done what she did, and it would have gotten the same result. And I know she's talented, and I'm not saying that just because Tsunami is a muse, but because the talent is there. So I'm looking forward to seeing her break out of that and really show us what she can do. Saphira, her vocal prowess got stronger as the song continued. It didn't start out strong, but it definitely ended stronger. She has a beautiful tone, and the crude lyrics sent me. I love her high drag. I saw her video with Katya, Unhinged. I loved it. Saphira really is a Renaissance woman. She hosts, she sings, she composes her own classical music. She's an opera singer. She's beautiful. She's sober. Like, there's so many sides to Saphira. She really is a gemstone with this hidden quirky side that I live for. The lyrics, Father Forgive Me, stuck with me for some reason. And after doing some research, I learned that Saphira and her father, who has since passed, had a very complicated relationship, with drag being the point of contention. But before he passed, her father did come around and saw her in drag and was more supportive. Saphira kind of reminds me, her story reminds me of Mrs. Kasha Davis. They both grew up in the Rochester drag scene. They both had these complicated relationships with their dads, who eventually came around shortly before their passing. So I just, and there's like a groundedness and a kindness that I see from Saphira, and I really want to get to know her better. Okay, so now we're on the runways. My personal lows were Morphine, Tsunami, and Amanda. Morphine and Tsunami have this thing where, like, they've got great ideas, but the execution doesn't come off appropriately for a 2024 season of Drag Race. I like their ideas. I know that the raw talent is there. I just need them to elevate it a little bit more. And again, irrespective of how they do on this show, to me, that's irrelevant. I would just like to see the growth in their drag, and I know that they'll do that. Morphine seems to be a bit of a legend in her own head, so I want to see if she lives up to that. And Tsunami, even though she comes from the legendary House of Muse, I would like to see her stand out a little bit more and make her own lane. So my question is, Morphine, are you going to live up to this legendary status in your head? And is Tsunami, are you going to be able to make a name for yourself outside of the Muse group? Amanda and her her mishaps, her wig came off, and I love that despite the shade and the hiccups, she just keeps going. I did like the zip reveal, which revealed her to be this kind of alien housewife character. I liked it. Again, I look forward to seeing her elevate as well, and I think she will. The highs for me were Q, Dawn, Mirage, and to a lesser degree, Saphira. They all had the top runways of the night. I don't feel like Saphira's garments were on Q's level, but her spirit and her talent is the unseen thing that really sells us on Saphira. It pushes us toward her. We may not always see the power in the execution. We definitely feel it, and that makes us root for her. Q, I felt like I was a proud aunt at my niece or nephew's performance. She was so well put together, and she surprised me. And I think I'm going to really love seeing what she turns out every week in the challenges and on the runway. Dawn, honey, you were giving me the abominable snowman of my dreams. It was very fashionable. And Mirage, honey, I gasped when I saw you on the runway because I was not expecting that level of polish. Again, that's not a read. It's just basically the edit has not been preparing us for what you gave us. And that orange and blue, it clashed so beautifully. Your breastplate, your body, everything looked great. Now, the critiques. I do appreciate that the critiques, for the most part, were focused on the product and not tearing the girls down. Mirage did not give cunty in her Meet the Queen, so to be gagged by her runway and her talent show, I agree with the judges. Mirage seduced me too. Dawn got a huge Lucille Ball compliment from the judging panel. I don't quite see it, but if they're saying it, obviously there may be something there. So I hope that Dawn's showing is actually genuine. I'm quirky, I'm different, look at me do something different, and not I'm trying hard to be different, because we don't need any more of that. I agree with the judges. Tsunami needs to come bigger. But they seem to love her because they complimented her walk and her skin. And I think those are both very good signs that they'll kind of root for her and maybe try to save her a little bit. Q, yeah. She gagged. They were gagging over her looks, the judges, and rightfully so. She deserves all the love she's getting. Now, Mirage. When they get to her and they critique her lack of polish and structure, I don't feel like that's a bad critique, but it's not a critique that a queen, I think, can realistically work on in 1 to 2 episodes. And if Mirage doesn't pull a rabbit out of her hat miraculously, I can see that being the reason they send her home. But it doesn't mean she's not a good queen. It doesn't. I really think that Mirage has something special. She's going to grow from this experience regardless. I am absolutely a Sapphira stan, but after hearing Michelle call her breastplate Fisher Price titties, I was too through. On the one hand, it got a lot of laughs from the audience, but on the other hand, that was a read. Rate the queen. I'm not going to lie. I love this change in format because it gives drama in a good way, not contrived, and it sets in some pretty cool storylines. Let me explain. The queens get to rate each other based on their performance in the episode thus far. There's no criteria for why a queen rates another queen the way they do. Will they vote petty, emotional, or strategic? And as I explained earlier, that's a lot of story source about how someone reacts to things, and we get to see how they think, and we can either use that with them or against them in the edit. A lot of queens chose Q as one of the top rated queens, and that makes sense since she was the best. Now, having this peer rating also gets the watching audience involved. As a storyteller, I can tell that the post producers had a great time interjecting the comments from the queens as they explained why they chose or they rated queens as they rated them. Because these comments got big laughs from the audience, especially about Amanda's quote-unquote rotted drag. I agree with Q and Sapphira being in the top 2 for the lip sync. Again, we're borrowing here from the All Stars format where the winners, the people that did the best that week, get the lip sync and not the underdog. For this episode, it makes sense. For a regular season of Drag Race, I don't feel like having the top 2 always lip sync it out makes sense because we're new. We don't know these girls. So lip sync is another chance for us to see what they can do. And it gives some pretty iconic moments. Like, even though Marsha went home, she had the best lip sync of the season. Let's keep it real. Of season 15. Okay, the lip sync, Sapphira, honey, when she did that slow move that Katya did, it further solidified her connection to Katya. They're both from Boston. They're both quirky queens that seem to have a lot of different facets to them. That was a solid lip sync. I mean, Q held her own, but Sapphira embodied the soul of that song. And I'm really glad that Sapphira won. So those are my thoughts for the first episode of season 16. Remember, y'all, this is a split premiere, just like I knew it was going to be. So we've got 7 more queens that we're going to get to know next week. I hope you join me. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Please follow me on Buttlong Avenue Prods on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.